foundation of our continents grind against one another with relentless force, building up unimaginable stress and pressure over vast stretches of time. Most of the time, this immense energy is released gradually, manifesting as tiny tremors, subtle vibrations that often go completely unnoticed by the world above. But sometimes, the pressure builds relentlessly for centuries, even millennia, accumulating an almost unfathomable amount of energy that must, inevitably and eventually, be released in a cataclysmic burst. We build our lives, our cities, and our societies on these very fault lines, often remaining blissfully oblivious to the titanic struggle and the immense forces churning deep below our feet. We are in many ways living precariously on the back of a sleeping giant, a geological behemoth, and we can never truly be certain when that giant might stir from its slumber, disturbed by the pressures within. When it does, it will unleash its pent-up power with devastating consequences. This is the fundamental force locked deep within the planet's crust. A force that, over eons, has relentlessly raised mountains to the sky and patiently carved deep canyons into the very bones of the Earth. The earthquakes we experience are merely fleeting whispers, faint echoes of what the planet is truly capable of unleashing. What if the giant truly awakens from its long sleep, releasing the accumulated stress and pressure of 1,000 years, or even more, all at once, in a single devastating event? It would be a day when the very ground beneath our feet, the foundation of our existence, transforms into our greatest and most formidable enemy. To truly grasp the magnitude, the sheer scale of what we're discussing requires a shift in perspective. We need to move beyond our everyday experiences and enter a realm of unimaginable forces. Of such an event, a magnitude 10 earthquake, consider the scale we use to measure it, the tools and methods scientists employ to quantify these cataclysmic events. The Richter and moment magnitude scales, the benchmarks by which we understand the power unleashed by earthquakes, are logarithmic, meaning the numbers don't increase in a straight line. Instead, they represent an exponential jump in power. Each whole number means 10 times more shaking. The ground moves 10 times more violently with each increase on the scale. A magnitude 7 shakes 10 times more than a 6, a significant difference that translates to vastly different levels of destruction, but releases 32 times more energy. The energy released doesn't just increase linearly, it explodes upward. The 2011 Tohoku earthquake in Japan, a devastating event that reshaped coastlines and triggered a massive tsunami, was a magnitude 9.1, an almost unimaginable force of nature unleashed upon the world. The 1960 Valdivia quake in Chile, still the largest earthquake ever recorded, a 9.5. A benchmark of seismic power that we use to try and understand the upper limits of what our planet is capable of. These were planetary scale events, impacting not just the immediate region, but sending ripples throughout the entire globe. But a magnitude 10 would be in a league of its own, a hypothetical event that pushes the boundaries of our understanding. It would release 32 times more energy, an amount so vast it's difficult to comprehend, than the Valdivia quake, making the largest earthquake in recorded history seem almost small in comparison. That's the energy of over 2 trillion tons of TNT, a truly staggering amount of explosive power. More than the US consumes in a year, an amount of energy that dwarfs even the largest industrial nation's yearly consumption. Such a quake would physically alter the planet itself. The very shape of the Earth could be changed by such an event. The Valdivia quake made the Earth's axis wobble, a subtle but measurable shift in the planet's rotation. A magnitude 10 would do so on a much greater scale. The wobble would be far more pronounced, potentially affecting the planet's climate and weather patterns. The fault required would be enormous, a geological scar stretching across vast distances. Perhaps 1,000 miles long, a continuous fracture in the Earth's crust of epic proportions, rupturing in its entirety. The entire fault line would give way in a single catastrophic event. The rupture would tear along the fault, a geological zipper unzipping at incredible speed. At miles per second, lasting many minutes, the ground would be in constant motion for an extended period. The ground would not just shake, the very earth beneath our feet would be transformed. It would heave and roll in colossal waves. The surface of the planet would undulate like the ocean during a storm. This is not just a regional disaster confined to a single area or country, but a planetary event. An event that would affect every corner of the globe. The consequences would be felt everywhere. A truly global catastrophe, the likes of which humanity has never witnessed. Imagine an earthquake so powerful, so immense, that it dwarfs anything we've ever recorded. A magnitude 10 earthquake to you would turn solid ground into a churning, violent sea, a terrifying phenomenon known as liquefaction. The very earth beneath our feet would lose its solidity. Buildings would sink, roads would buckle, and the landscape would transform into a treacherous, unstable mire. The shaking would be a continuous convulsion, not a tremor, an unrelenting assault that throws everything into chaos. It would be a seismic storm, a cataclysmic event that redefines our understanding of the planet's power. The ground could heave by tens of feet in seconds, an instantaneous and terrifying uplift that reshapes the terrain in the blink of an eye. Imagine the force required to lift entire sections of land so dramatically, the sheer energy unleashed from deep within the earth, opening chasms and swallowing everything above. These aren't mere cracks, they are gaping wounds in the Earth's surface. Buildings, vehicles, even entire neighborhoods could vanish into these newly formed abysses, lost forever to the planet's fury. The sound, a deafening, grinding roar, would be unlike anything humans have heard, a symphony of destruction, a cacophony of the Earth tearing itself apart. It would be a sound that burrows into your very soul, a constant reminder of the planet's raw power. It would be unlike anything humans have ever experienced. In the epicentral region, destruction would be absolute, a zone of total annihilation, where nothing remains untouched. The landscape would be unrecognizable, a testament to the earthquake's unimaginable force. Mountains crumbling, landslides burying valleys, the landscape rewritten in minutes. Entire ecosystems would be wiped out, and geological formations would be forever altered. Liquefaction would turn solid ground to quicksand, toppling buildings and infrastructure. The very foundations of our civilization would be undermined, leaving behind a scene of utter devastation. The seismic waves would radiate globally, causing damage thousands of miles away. Even regions far removed from the epicenter would feel the Earth's wrath. Skyscrapers would sway, bridges strain, and older structures collapse even on the far